Morning folks, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. What I'd like to discuss this morning is evaporative cooling. How we can take advantage of evaporative cooling to not only control our body's core temperature, but also to make life more enjoyable for us, whether it be on a hike or a trek, or whether it be in a camp scenario. So let's talk about evaporative cooling for a minute and what that means, and then we'll talk about some mechanisms that we can manipulate to take advantage of evaporative cooling. So we generally experience evaporative cooling in our own bodies on a daily basis, especially in warm weather. When we sweat and that sweat evaporates off of our body, it removes latent heat that evaporates, cooling our body down. That is our body's way of utilizing evaporative cooling to control our own body's core temperature. Now we can manipulate that evaporative cooling a little bit depending on how we dress and depending on the things that we do. I generally wear a buff type head garment, and that buff head garment can be used to my advantage for evaporative cooling if I dip it in a creek on a hot summer day. The same thing with a loose garment that's made of some type of cotton that will absorb water well. If it's hot enough outside and the humidity is either low enough or the temperature high enough, and that is a mitigating factor when it comes to evaporation. If the humidity is too high versus the temperature, it drastically slows down evaporation. If there is a breeze, that can convectively affect evaporation as well. So if you're walking through an arid environment with a wet t-shirt on and it's very hot outside, that evaporative cooling is going to take place very quickly. If you're in an eastern woodland environment, the temperature will have to be higher because the humidity is a little higher to help affect that evaporative cooling. But something like a head rag or some type of a scarf like this veil that can be dipped in water and wrapped around the neck where the heat is rising through your body and escaping, that's going to be the hottest portion of your body, and taking advantage of that in the head and neck region with something that's wet that absorbs water to affect that evaporative cooling in hotter temperatures will cool your body down quicker and help you maintain body core temperature. Now, you can also take advantage of evaporative cooling with your water itself, whether it's while you're hiking or while you're in camp. So let's talk about that for a minute. What we can do is we can use the same methodology that some of the older military canteens use. And this is an old British military canteen, and it's completely covered in a wool fabric. And that affected two things. A, it insulated the canteen a little bit in cold weather, but it took advantage of evaporative cooling in warmer weather. By dipping this canteen in water and saturating this material, as evaporation took place, that moved latent heat from the metal, cooling the water inside. And you could do this same thing with a cotton bandana. If it was thick enough, a piece of cotton material like a t-shirt would work better. Or you could make some type of a felt cover for your canteen if that's what you chose to do, or your water bottle. Now, a canvas cover like the one for the Pathfinder canteen set that's made by Duluth Pack, if it's untreated canvas, it's not a waxed canvas. The waxed oilcloth type materials are going to be more water resistant. But something that has not been treated, that you could soak in water that will absorb that water, even though it swells the fabric up in the canvas, will work very, very well for evaporative cooling as well. But not as good as something in direct contact with that metal that can absorb water like this material that's made of wool on this canteen. Now we can also take advantage in camp of something like a canvas bucket that's untreated, and water is going to leach through the pores of that canvas as it expands to make it more watertight. And as that happens, if this container is sitting in warm weather, it's going to evaporate these droplets that are coming through the canvas, and it's going to evaporatively cool the water inside. So those are a couple ways that we can take advantage of evaporative cooling to keep our water that we're drinking on a daily basis in hot weather a little cooler and more enjoyable to drink. Okay folks, well that was just a couple quick tips and tricks to help you take advantage of evaporative cooling to both help control your body's core temperature and also to control the temperature of liquids that you may have to consume on a hot summer day. I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. I appreciate you joining me for this quick tip or trick video today. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.